Question number 3 on the 2017 exam is no calculator question. And we've been given a graph of f prime, and we're going to be asked questions about the f function and later on the f double prime. So one of the keys, some of the keys in this question that we have to make sure we understand is that the area under the derivative function f prime is going to give us the displacement on the original f of x function. And using the fundamental theorem of calculus, we can calculate values of f of x based on having some starting point, starting y value at f of a, and calculating the area from a to some point x under the derivative graph. So this should say f prime under the f prime graph. So this is a key point. The other point is that as we integrate left to right, the area above the curve is positive and the area below the curve is negative, what we would normally expect. However, when we go right to left, we have to be careful because the area under the curve is going to be positive and the area above the curve is going to be negative. So it's going to be the opposite. So we have to be careful of that when we're integrating right to left. So taking a look at this question here, it says f is a differentiable function on the interval -6 to 5. We've been given an initial point at f of -2 equals 7. So that is our starting value. That's our f of a. Okay, so when we calculate values of f, that's our initial condition where we want to start from. And to set up then the integral to find f of -6, we do it like this. So we want to find the value of f of -6. We're going to have our starting point, which is going to be f of -2. And that's going to be equal to 7. Okay, we're starting at a value of 7. And then we're going to find the displacement, which is the area under the curve from -2, that's our starting position, to -6. So in this case, we're going right to left. So we have to be careful of the sign of the area. That's going to be under the derivative function f prime of x dx. So then going to our graph, we're going to start at -2. That's our starting point, -2. Okay, so everything to the left of that is going to be opposite. Everything to the right is going to be the above is positive, below is negative. So we're going right to left. So this area that we're going to find here at -6, this area is going to be negative. So when we work out the area of that triangle, it's a 4x2 triangle, we get an area of -4 units. Okay, that area then we're going to subtract from the original position, that's our displacement, and we get a position of 4. So at x is -6, f of x is equal to 4. And then we do the same thing for f of 5. So at f of 5, we're going to start at f of -2, and then we're going to add the area starting at -2. This time we're going to the right to go to +5 under the f prime graph. So to calculate the coordinate then, we're going to start with 7 and work out the displacement. So the displacement going to the right is going to be this semicircle. It's below the x-axis, so it's going to be negative area. The radius is 2, so it's going to be pi r squared divided by 2 is going to be -2 pi. From 2 to 5, that area is above the curve, so it's going to be 3/2 divided by 2. So this area here works out to be +3 units squared. Okay, since it's above the curve. So we're just going to sum that all up. So it's going to be below, so it's going to be -2 pi plus 3, and that gives us the y value is going to be equal to 10 minus 2 pi. Taking a look at part B, says on which intervals is f increasing, and justify your answer. When we take a look at the graph, since this is an f prime graph, increasing means a positive f prime. So we just want to know where the graph is above and below the x-axis. So we want to make sure we make note of the zeros here, because those are going to be the boundaries between positive and negative. So I've marked out the zeros here on our slope chart. Okay, there's our zero slope. And we're going to check to see on the left side between -6 and 0, or sorry, -6 and -2, it's above the x-axis, so we're going to have positive slope. So we're going to have positive slope through here. We're going to have zero slope. Between -2 and 2, it's below. So between there, we're going to have negative slope, so it's going to be sloping down. Here we have zero slope, and from 2 to 5, it's above the x-axis, so we have positive slope, so it looks like that. So our justification is going to be our slope chart here, and what intervals is it increasing? Well, it's the positive intervals, so it's going to be increasing from the endpoint -6 to -2, and it's going to be increasing from +2 to +5, which is our endpoint. Okay, so those are the increasing slope regions. Looking at our mark scheme, the marks are going to be given out like this. First of all, you're going to be looking for the initial condition. So that initial condition is going to be 1 mark. And then the actual value of f of -6 and f of 5 will give you the other 2 marks. For part B, it just says the answer with justification. So the answer giving the regions, and the justification that we're using here is the slope chart, which shows us that we are increasing in those regions.